Hello everyone, it's Carrie, and today I'm going to show you how to make these bunny boxes using the glorious Gable box die from our Daily Bread Designs. So they have these inserts that you can add to the die, and I've only added them to two sides, the top and one of the smaller sides. I'm going to run it through my Gemini, and the reason I am showing you this is because this glorious Gable box die is actually very glorious, because you can die cut it and then remove that magnetic portion right there, add the embossing pad to the top, leaving the paper inside the die cut, and run it back through. And what you get is not only the die cut box, but also an embossed image on the die cut that is just amazing, and it's glorious. I'm going to show you a comparison here in just a second. Look how beautiful that cuts out. So here, I've sped this up just a little bit, but here is when I emboss with it, run it through the second time, and you can see that there are some beautiful embossed pieces to it. This is the one that's not embossed, and it's obviously a lot more flat. And see, the one that's embossed, I hope you can see the difference here. The one that's embossed is just magnificent. It adds just a little bit of something extra. So I'm going to take this Post-it tape and I'm going to tape three sides of this along that embossed rectangle, leaving the top open. I wanted to leave that top open because when I put this stamp on it, I want the ear of the bunny to go over that top. I'm using this set here. It's called Hoppy Birthday, with that cute bunny, and I'm going to use one of those sentiments there. But you'll see I'm going to use the Misty so that I can get this stamped perfectly. I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black ink to ink up that bunny, and I decided to go ahead and do this twice to get a very crisp, clear impression. And that's the great thing about the Misty, is if you leave it in exactly where it was, you can stamp it a second time in the exact same spot, and it comes out perfect. I'm going to set that piece aside to dry, and I'm going to use the same Post-it tape and tape the other second die cut here. This is where I'm going to start doing some ink blending. And I do tape that right on that embossed edge. I'm using some Catherine Pooler inks in Lime Ricky and Fiesta Blue. And these are just such bright, beautiful inks, and they blend really nicely. So just taking that first color of green and sponging it on. And here I'm being very careful not to go over that tape. If I was to do this again, I would probably add a little extra Post-it tape to the sides here so I didn't get any ink on the top of the Gable box. So I'm taking the blue and just blending it into the green, and then I go back with the green again and blend that out so I get a smooth transition. It's very simple to do, and it just creates the most vibrant colors on this box. Here's my favorite part, the reveal. Look at that. Beautiful colors. So now we're going to do the same ink blending to the front side with the bunny image on it. And here I am heat setting that VersaFine ink because I found that it does smear if it's not completely dry. So I went ahead and took off that Post-it tape that had still some of that VersaFine on it, and I'm just using the same Post-it tape that I used for the other side to do the blending. I have a mask here that I've already cut out using that Post-it tape, and it just was missing a little bit on the bottom here, so I just added a little extra tape. And I'm going to go ahead and do the blending on this side. We'll start with the green once again, and then I'll go ahead and add the blue and blend those together. Once that's all blended, let me just show you how beautiful this looks. I love this part. So that bunny image just looks fantastic. It really pops when you have that ink blending behind it. And it really doesn't need much coloring, but I decided to go ahead and add a little bit of colored pencil, some pink for the ear, and I'm going to blend out with a little bit of white. These are Prismacolor pencils that I'm using. And I'm adding just a little touch of yellow to those daffodils. It really doesn't need much at all. I'm going to add a little touch of green for the grass at the bottom, just to give it a little extra. And you can see that I used a little bit of the colored pencil around the right side of the bunny there, where some of the ink blending didn't quite get to the edge of that bunny. So this is very simple to do, just to add a little bit of color, and there is the beautiful Gable box. Now all that's left to do is to assemble it. There are score lines already on this box, so just fold all of those down. The only part that you will fold towards you is the top of the box there with the handle on it. Now before we fold the other side of the box down, I would like to add just a little sentiment. So in order to get this straight, I am using my Stamp-A-Majig, and I've already stamped it on the plastic piece there to make sure that I have perfect placement. I'll line it up with that Stamp-A-Majig and stamp it down on the actual piece. And there is a beautiful sentiment. Easter blessings to you. I've heat set this a little bit just to make sure I don't smear it. And then all that's left to do is fold down the edges on this one and assemble the box. I like to use score tape to adhere these boxes together because it's a very strong adhesive. So I'm going to place it on the tabs, on the two tabs of each of these, and then also on the bottom of the inside of one of them. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute here. I'm having a little trouble with that one. Score tape is usually very easy to tear, but in this case I was having a struggle. There we go. So I'm adding a bit to the bottom of the inside of this one. And now I'll just remove that liner and line up the sides of the box here and attach them together. I found it easy to attach the sides first, make sure they're lined up, and then go ahead and remove the liner from the bottom and tape that closed. And there you go. Look at how beautiful that closes there, and you can see through the sides and also the top. It makes for a really pretty presentation. This fits some Lindt chocolates perfectly. So I added a few here and closed it up. And you can see through just a little bit to those treats inside. So pretty. Thank you so much for joining me today. For more information, visit my blog at sunshineinmypocket.com. I hope to see you next time.